This is Matthew Frost, and this is my presentation on the different levels of anonymity and the truth of anonymity. My presentation is based on 5 main points. First, websites that allow anonymity. Second, why anonymity is the voice of terrorism. Third, people are more likely to share and discuss what they actually think while being anonymous. Fourth, anonymity is the mask of criminals. And fifth, what do people use their anonymity to talk about on the internet? There are different levels of anonymity. Anonymity not only allows anonymous discussion, but it also brings chaos. There are many websites that are considered truly anonymous, and many that you use that can be used as a pseudo-anonymous website. The websites known most for anonymous discussion is 4chan and its lesser-known relative 8chan. Both have an infamous reputation. 4chan and 8chan are actually image boards that the users are represented by a random number that changes with each new topic. Although they do allow you to write out a name rather than a number, it appears most users prefer not to use this feature. Other websites allow pseudo-anonymous accounts because you do have to make an account. Anything you say will be tied to that account. The information to make that account doesn't have to be personally identifying, allowing a fake account to be made. Websites like Facebook or Twitter would be the pseudo-anonymous websites. The fact that nothing you say will be tied back to you allows you to post and say what you really think, which to some people would mean either true free speech or total chaos. The freedom can be taken advantage by nefarious people or groups, which is why anonymity is the voice of terrorism. Terrorists use anonymous websites or pseudo-anonymous accounts to radicalize and use as a platform in order to spread their radicalized beliefs. ISIS is a terrorist organization that uses semi-anonymous websites to radicalize citizens. Terrorist groups like ISIS have exploited social media sites such as Twitter to spread their propaganda and to recruit new members, reported by Stanford University. The BBC reported that over 40,000 people from the foreign nations ended up being radicalized by ISIS through semi-anonymous websites like Twitter. Brenton Tarrant, the Churchill's Moss terrorist, posted his plans and his manifesto on 8chan. Washington Post reports before the March attack in Churchill, Tarrant published a lengthy manifesto deriding immigrants and exposing white supremacist views on 8chan. Although anonymity is the voice of terrorism, it allows anyone to voice their opinion and share their ideas. People are more likely to discuss and share what they actually think anonymously. When people use anonymous websites, it allows them to discuss topics without repercussion, which opens up discussion for taboo subjects that would not normally be discussed in public. This expands and allows us actual dialogue and potential growth in these subjects. Carnegie University Psychology Department writes, people use protection of anonymity to reduce social risk of discussing unpopular opinions and taboo topics. This freedom to say what you want without fear of losing your job because you discussed a subject that wouldn't be talked about under normal circumstances. This ability to discuss anything without being caught means crimes can be committed without being caught. The ability to be anonymous allows criminals to commit crimes like pedophilia, selling of drugs, and the ability to use the black market without being caught. People on 4chan and 8chan do post anything and everything on some topics, and there are many other websites that do the same. This means that pedophilic images end up being posted on websites like 4chan. People would be shamed for doing something like this, but nonetheless, they are posted. Many crimes are committed through the dark web, allowing people to buy stolen credit cards, hitmen, illegal organs, stolen weapons, goods, among other things. These things are completely terrible, and if caught doing them in the real world, would get you prison time. But because of the anonymous nature of Tor and other websites, to catch people, police and Good Samaritans resort to posting illegal pictures with viruses that sends them the location of where the picture was downloaded, allowing cops to catch these sick people. These type of things do happen, but they are less than 1% of what actual people use their anonymity for. Let's look at what people actually do with their anonymity. What do people talk about when they use websites that allow anonymity? The following information is brought to you by Michael Berglund and his research paper, Anonymity and on the Internet. 30% of all messages sent using anonymous websites are general discussion. This includes things like talking about your day-to-day work, your frustrations with family, or opening up about your sex life to complete strangers due to the nature of anonymity of these websites. 23.1% of topics are just adverts or spam, mostly about sexual content targeted to males. 13.2% of the topics are just pornographic messages with no context. 9.9% of the messages are people just trying the website out or testing how anonymity works. 3.7 are simply pornographic pictures with no text or anything. The main topics, as you can see, are pornographic in nature because the fact people can discuss these things without fear of being caught or shamed. There are many benefits to being able to be anonymous on the internet, but the few crimes that do occur and the dangerous people who use anonymity to protect themselves, is it worth it? I believe even though these acts do occur, I also believe that they are far and in between, and I personally value the normal person's freedom to be open and talk about what they want over the hope less crime will be committed if we remove people's anonymous access to the internet. Let's review what we talked about and what we discussed. What websites are considered anonymous and pseudo-anonymous, why terrorists use anonymity to recruit people to their cause, why people are more open to anonymous websites, why criminals use anonymous websites, and what people are more likely to talk about on anonymous websites. The ability to discuss whatever they want without repercussions is true freedom of speech, but the ability to do whatever you want is absolute chaos. These are all my references, and I hope you have an amazing winter break. Goodbye, Professor.